right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Bottom line is, man, it's hard to break us now. It's hard to break us. As a matter of fact, you ain't going to do it.
Open look going as he hits it. What a play called by Tom Izzo in that timeout.
I was 7 years old watching a football game by myself, and I saw those winged helmets come out of the tunnel, and I was hooked at that point.
Hayden Chicago! Oh, my God! Hayden with the overtime winner!
Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
He drives, lobs to JD for a jam.
You play real good, you start. You don't play as good, you work your way back in. It's the American way, except America has gotten soft. But that is the American way. That's the way it works.
This is the 6-6. Jameson Williams, he's got it! Touchdown, Lions!
Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores! Gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
Going to be a really good week. Welcome, everybody. X's and Bros. Hope you had a great weekend. This is Matt Shepard. Andy McDonald is alongside. We are with you throughout the great state of Michigan on the Michigan Sports Network, and we are streaming live on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. We wish any type of feedback that you may have, comments in the chat section, or texting us at Sports Radio 21,000. You can call us on the Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. First things first, Andy, did you have a good weekend? Was it a busy weekend?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it ended up still being busy at the end of the day, I guess. But, yeah, I worked a little bit, did, I guess, a little bit of fun stuff. Went out for Mother's Day for my mom yesterday, so that's always good. But, yeah, nothing too crazy. Was able to rest up a little bit. Watched the Pistons on Saturday. It was disappointing, but
did you get mom anything special for Mother's Day?
I just got her flowers and Starbucks gift card because she likes coffee a lot, and then some chocolates. So nothing too insane, but yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
right.
she's always like, "Don't give me anything," and at the end of the day, you're like, "I'm not gonna not get anything." You can't just show up with nothing. That just it feels wrong. So
yeah, you're not supposed to do that. The parents always say that because all they really care about is being with their kids. So that's good, and I'm sure Starbucks appreciates the free plug, not once but twice now, once by you and once by me. Had a very interesting week, and Friday I ended up going to Eagle Crest Golf Course and doing a TV shoot. All right, and while I was there, afterwards having some lunch, there was a junior golf tournament taking place. I guess this is a junior league. You could, if you're going to liken it to another sport, go ahead and put it as like a travel league or a 7-on-7 tournament that goes nationwide. That's what this junior league was for little kids. I don't know I forget exactly how old they were, but maybe between 10 and 12. So I'm getting ready to sit down and have some lunch, and I look, and there's Ben Roethlisberger. Seriously. I mean, I don't know. I know. I don't know where. I said, "Hey, Ben, how's it going?" And he looks at me like, "Oh." And I said, "No, you don't know me." I said, "I'm Matt Shepard. Enjoyed watching your career. Fellow MAC guy." So we started talking about MAC football. I called his games while he was at Miami, while I was calling for Eastern Michigan. So that was kind of unique, right?
He was just that cool. He was just that relaxed and just that open to having a conversation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now that he's retired, and I said, just out of curiosity, what are you doing here? And because I know he's a big golfer, he's like, "Yeah, my son is participating in this event." I said, "Oh, that's great. Good luck to him. All the best." Blah blah. Didn't take a lot. Saturday, went to a fabulous event at Strikeout Baseball in Lansing, in which John Smoltz was there to commemorate the grand opening of this wonderful facility that allows kids to go and play baseball if they're one-on-one, because in the outfield wall, they've got triple and home run and double, but they've got out in each alleyway. You don't need 18 people to play a game of baseball. I mean, it's really, really cool. So anyway, did that, and John Smoltz was fantastic. I mean, he took pictures, signed autographs all day. I mean, you just don't find athletes having that opportunity. I mean, or giving you that opportunity, I should say. He was there for, let's see, I would say I got there at 11. He was there around 11:30, and he was there till about 3:30 or so. So you're talking about 4 straight hours of a guy who's just, and by the way, played a few games, he pitched the entire time. He pitched the entire time to kids and to a couple of businesses that went out there and played against one another. Sinair played MSU, FCU, Michigan State Federal Credit Union. So it was a phenomenal day where people had hot dogs and it was just at the ballpark. It was really, really fun. And then, of course, Sunday was Mother's Day. And I wonder if this is a bad thing. Ready? I played golf on Sunday. Me and 2 of my sons played golf together. Was that a bad thing, do you think?
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
I mean, as long as, I don't know, it depends on how you guys go about it. I mean, I feel like for me, I've done it before too, so it's not the end of the world. But I tried to call up my future brother-in-law for it because he was playing golf this weekend. He sent a picture of how he almost got a hole in one. It was pretty close. And I saw my sister later that day. I was like, you can't come to this dinner with us, but you can play golf. He was like, oh no, he's playing with his mom. I was like, oh, I didn't know she played. So, he got away with it with that. So he's lucky.
Yeah, I like that. No, that's better. My wife doesn't play. She it did allow her to sleep in, so the house was empty. So that's good.
I'm sure that she appreciates that.
It did draw my 2 sons over to this side of town that allowed them to come, and then they went and they bought some steaks and salmon and lobster and so on and so forth. And then we grilled those out and had a really nice time. So it was a great weekend. Hope everybody out there had a great weekend. Hope all the moms out there celebrated the way they deserve to be celebrated, because you are the rock of every family and every household. Headlines now. Pistons and Cavs square off game 4 tonight. Detroit is up 2-1. I'm obviously not a must win, and I don't think it's a must win for Cleveland either, although Cleveland looked like a different team at home than they did at LCA. That was a game that was quote unquote gettable for the Pistons. If they play like that, they're going to be just fine, right? Now, I will say this, and I have ripped on this team, as in the New York Knicks, all season long. Suggesting that it's just the national media that wants them to be there, because you have talking heads who are either living in New York, are from New York, or have become New York Knicks fans. And it seems to me like there is a great national push for that team to get to the NBA Finals. That could be. I do give them credit because they blew out the Sixers 144-114. They complete the sweep for the first time in a 7-game series since 1999, and they advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 2nd straight year. They have won 7 games in a row now. They shot 54%, and they made an NBA postseason record 25 triples. They made 11 in the first quarter. They out-rebounded Philly by 17. That's beyond impressive. The difference will be, when they play the Pistons, because the Pistons are going to beat the Cavs. When they play the Pistons, Detroit is a far superior defensive team than Philadelphia. Haven't been great at protecting the 3-point line, but overall, this is going to be completely different for New York. I don't care playing Atlanta, playing Philadelphia, and then Detroit. No, Detroit's a different animal. But you got to give credit where credit is due, and we'll get to that coming up here on X's and Bros. Meanwhile, Minnesota beat San Antonio 114-109. Anthony Edwards throws down a game-high 30. Wolves get even in the series. It's the 18th time Edwards has scored 30 or more in a playoff game, 4th most in NBA history. Who do you think has the most before turning 25? Before turning 25, who has the most 30-point games in NBA playoff history? It's Dwayne Wade. I'm sorry, it's LeBron James. He tied Dwayne Wade for 18th. LeBron James has 30. Kobe Bryant has 26. Kevin Durant has 22. And then it's Anthony Edwards and Dwayne Wade. There was a big turning point in that game, though, and it took place early. We'll get to that, plus the Tigers recap when we come back here on X's and Bros. It's a Mondays with Mitch. Mitch Lyons brings you our first hour here on X's and Bros.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3?
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com.
Saturday night, May 23rd.
Carry on my wayward son.
Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort welcomes multi-platinum legends, Kansas. Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office or etix.com. Don't miss the best of classic rock. Kansas returns to Soaring Eagle Saturday, May 23rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did our job getting back into the game. Fourth quarter turnovers. We had a couple of opportunities. I'm in transition and stuff, those bad ones where we don't get the ball on rim, inbound the ball. Little things that just careless turn. I wouldn't even say careless. I care about it a lot. Just bad plays. That could have got shots on rim and could have gave us opportunity to win this game.
Cade Cunningham, following the game 3-loss in Cleveland, and willing to at least take a lot of the shade, if you will, for the problems that Detroit experienced. 15 turnovers in the entire game, and Cade Cunningham had 8 of those turnovers. You got more than half the turnovers, you got problems. So we have said this nauseingly for a long time. As much as we respect and love Cade Cunningham, I'm so glad he's a Piston. He's going to be one of the greatest Pistons of all time. If he's not sneaking into that conversation already, he's the primary reason that they advanced in round 1 anyway. Okay, getting by Orlando, coming back from 3-1. He's been phenomenal, period. As an offensive player, he has been also phenomenal, I would say, as a defender for Detroit. Ausar Thompson gets so much credit. I understand why, but Cade Cunningham deserves a ton of credit too. But they're not playing in this round if he doesn't score 32 in game 1 against Orlando and 32 in game 2 or game 7, I should say, against Orlando. Against Cleveland, he has been exceptional. There's no question about that. All right. 23 in game 1, 25 in game 2. Had the double-double in game 2. But I do look at turnovers, and I do think they're important. And I have said all season long, this is not a postseason thing for me. I have said all season long that the turnovers have concerned me as well. Got to make better decisions. Some of it is a really good play by a player. Some of those turnovers oftentimes go against you if, another player on your team isn't expecting a pass and the pass is right there and they weren't looking. And those are situations that arise for just about everybody. But in the postseason, he's averaging, as good as he is, 30 points per game, 44% shooting from the floor, 40% from 3, which is really good. But he's averaging close to 6 turnovers a game.
Yeah, and I feel like this game was the first time we really noticed it again on like that extremely high level, just because he didn't shoot the ball as well. I think he went like 10 to 27 from the field, but also I think it was games 2 through 4 against Orlando. He had over 7 turnovers. It was like 7 in one, 8 in another, 9 in another. This is the first one where he's had 8 like that. So I feel like the not as good of shooting combined with the turnovers, like it was just a lot more noticeable when he was turning the ball over in this game because of that.
Yeah, I agree. That's well said. There's a lot of numbers that we get caught up in box scores. And immediately, I think anytime you're watching a game or you're talking about a game, you immediately go to points. At least in basketball, you're going to points. Baseball, you're going to hits. You should probably go to, how they do with runners in scoring position, for example. Football, how many touchdowns compared to interceptions for a certain player. How many yards gained? We don't look at yards per carry or yards after contact. We look at yards gained. The numbers that are important to you. But in game 1 against Orlando, he had just 3 turnovers. In game 2, it was 7. And as Andy mentioned, 7, then 9, then 8, then 6, then 4, then 4. And then against Cleveland, it's 4, 5, and 8. And again, those, the 4 maybe you can live with. I don't know how many's enough for you. If you have 7 assists and 4 turns, does it matter? If you're shooting, 6 of 19, does that matter for you? You can use whatever statistic you think is most important, but the turnovers are concerning. He is not a point guard. And I don't even know if there is such a thing as a point guard any longer. It's just guys on the floor, guys you have to be able to have multiple ball handlers and things of that nature. Fine. But the problem is that if you're going to continue at this rate, you're handing the ball to, especially in the postseason, you're handing the ball to a very good team, more oftentimes than not, and giving them that second opportunity. And you just can't allow that. It's not going to work. In the end, it's going to bite you. Certain teams, maybe you can get away with that. This you cannot. You have to treasure the basketball. So at least he takes, some ownership there and admits it was a big problem, and he was a big part of the problem. There was a problem for San Antonio yesterday. Victor Wembanyama played just 12 minutes before getting ejected, throwing an elbow after grabbing a loose ball. It's like, wow, that was so blatant. And San Antonio at one point claimed the lead, and this was early in the game, as you can tell, after 12 minutes. But in the end, it was Minnesota winning it. Tigers snapped their 5-game slide. They double up the Royals 6-3. Gage Workman hit a 2-run homer in the 6th. It was the first of his career. So it's really cool.
All right, Shep, I got a question for you quick before we move on from Workman. Did you think in 2026 you'd hear the sentence that Gage Workman was pinch hitting for Zach Short?
Yeah, I know. Well, Workman, yes. Short, no.
It was just crazy to me to hear that last night. Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
It gets to be, how many times over and over and over again are we going to go through this? And I like Zach Short. I do. I mean, I think he's a very gifted defensive player. He's not a major league hitter. He's just not. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you were thinking last night too when there was that one play, how Lee kind of cut him off on the ground ball. I don't know if you're able to see that. It was like, here we go again with the defense. Like it's going to be a problem. It's tough, but those double plays they turned late in the game. I know they made some defensive changes at that point. That was impressive considering the fact that they've got some of the injuries they have in that infield right now. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a problem with that from a guy like him because I think he's a very good player. And one of two from Sacred Heart University, which is in Fairfield, Connecticut. At one point, the Tigers had 2 players from Sacred Heart on their team. It was him and Jason Foley. And how that school wouldn't, promote that and be all excited about it, I don't know. But and he's a good guy. He's been able to get 6 years in Major League Baseball, which is pretty cool. You're never taking that away from him. Most games he's ever played was 110, but he's just not. I don't believe he's a major league hitter. I don't know what statistic you want to base it on. $170 in your career, it's just not happening. As far as I'm concerned, when your career high is 220, and that was over a 22 game short span in your career, I just don't think he is. But I think he's a really good defensive player. He's a really good dude. But that doesn't mean that he belongs on a major league roster. And for some reason, the Tigers just can't get enough of it. You can't get enough of Riley Green lately either. He went 2 for 3 yesterday, reached base 4 times. His on-base streak now. Remember when Kevin McGonigal was it 24? Was it 21?
Yeah, it was upper. It was in the 20s. I know that. So.
Yeah. And people were going crazy, right? Absolutely. I mean, because anything Kevin McGonigal does is right now, he walks on water for people. And he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. I love watching him play. But, his batting averages dip below 300 now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because the kid's 21 and he's a rookie. He's going to have some challenges. There's no doubt about that. Everybody knew that. And if you didn't, you haven't been paying attention to baseball very long. But where's all the hype for Riley Green's 21 game on base streak? It's been pretty impressive. Really impressive. He's been very consistent. If I asked you who leads the team in batting average right now, who do you think it is?
I'd say Riley Green because of how he's been playing. He's got to be over 300.
Yeah, it's Riley Green. And the Tigers head to New York to take on the Mets tomorrow. Now, there was that move. Andy just brought it up. Gage Workman pinch hitting for Zach Short and delivered a 2-run bomb. We'll get to that and the reason he was promoted. We'll get to that and more, plus the Pistons situation that they're ready for the Cavs tonight in Game 4. It's a Mondays with Mitch. That means Mitch Lyons at 7:18. And at 8:18, your hero and heel here on X's and Bros on a Monday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Well.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Saturday night, May 23rd. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort welcomes multi-platinum legends, Kansas. Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office or etix.com. Don't miss the best of classic rock. Kansas returns to Soaring Eagle Saturday, May 23rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
And there's some spacing issues that we can resolve that'll help him out. And then there's some plays I know he wished he could just have back. But, again, it's not a matter of understanding or intent. They're just things that, happen sometimes when you do have the ball in your hands that much.
JB Bickerstaff, his team getting ready for tonight's Game 4. Fully expect a response. Not that, look, Game 3 wasn't bad. It's not like they fell apart. They weren't Philadelphia. They weren't the Sixers, for crying out loud. You saw what happened in Philadelphia yesterday. No. I mean, Detroit was right there with them. I think they're going to be fine. I'll be honest with you. I know sometimes it depends on how, okay? I am not worried one bit about the Pistons game or series against Cleveland. Not one bit. No,
I felt the same way.
if Cleveland blows them out tonight and the turnovers continue, I might feel a little bit more angst. But overall, I think Detroit is clearly the better team. Now, we ripped last week on James Harden for his god-awful play. Got to give him credit. If I'm going to sit here and criticize a player or a team when they do poorly, when they do well, they deserve some flowers. And I think he deserves it. He was a big reason why they won Game 3.
Yeah, no, as much as we wanted, like, Cade's turnovers obviously mattered in that game. But down the stretch, he was going back and forth with Harden. He made some huge shots down there that kept him right in the game. Yeah. But you got to give James Harden credit for, I think it was 3 times in a row. He just came down and made the big shot. That's not easy to do. So, including
that massive 3, which
that was the dagger.
I was a little surprised. You want a heat check, whatever. We'll get to that coming up here on X's and Bros. Mondays with Mitch. Mitch Lyons joins you 7:18. We want your hero and heel. Love the hero and heel segment. You give us your best and you give us your worst. Justin Verlander's moved to the 60-day IL. Don't freak out. All these things are retroactive. So the first game he can pitch is May 31st. All right. He's got that left hip inflammation. This is what happens when you get older. It takes longer to recover from injuries. Kerry Carpenter's been added to the 10-day IL with a left shoulder injury. It's like, oh my, I mean, if you're getting tired of it, think about AJ Hinch and those guys. They got to be, are you kidding me? 17 guys on the injured list, man. 17. It's Carpenter. It's Gleyber Torres. It's Javier Baez. It's Trey Sweeney. It's Tarek Skubal. It's Will Vest. It's Connor Siebold. So Justin Verlander. It's Casey Mize. It's Troy Melton, Jackson Jobe, Bailey Horn. So Bo Brisky, Reese Olson, Parker Meadows. Look, can we paint a glass half full with this situation? If you're going to have it happen, you don't like it, but you do it in May, and you do it in this division, and you do it with a schedule that is very favorable to you in this month. So there are positives that you can look at. I don't necessarily believe everything should be rosy because you just snapped a 5-game slide, but you are going to New York. And we all know that so far this year, the New York Mets have been one of the bigger disappointments in all of baseball. They're 15 up and 25 down. They're a minus 31 in run scoring differential. That is second worst in their division. The Phillies actually have the worst, and yet they're in second place. You feel like Atlanta's already won that division. They lead by 9. It's crazy. If I asked you who has the largest lead of any division leader, it's the Atlanta Braves, and it's not even close. They're up 9. The next closest is the Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central against the Cubs at 3.5 back. That's how big of a lead Atlanta's been able to build. They've been the best team in baseball from the very get-go. I would argue the Rays and Yankees are close behind, although the Yankees just lost their 3rd in a row. So anyway, if you're going someplace, I mean, that's the place to go. Now, obviously, with Gage Workman homering yesterday, you know that he was called up and he was promoted from AAA. Here's the reason he deserved it. At the time, he was hitting 358 for the Mud Hens. His on base was over 41%, and his slug was at 590. Okay. He's a good defensive player. He's going to swipe you a bag or two. At least he had 12 stolen bases, which was the same number of stolen bases he had all of 2025. And he has cut down on his strikeout rate. So those are all reasons he deserved the call-up. And let's hope that, and remember, he played college ball with Spencer Torkelson at Arizona State. Let's hope that this becomes a continuous thing. I don't know if people know this. When Torkelson went to Arizona State, he was going to be a third baseman. They moved him to first because Gage Workman's a third baseman and a really good one. So he could be a future possibility there, but you got to hit. You got to hit to stay in the major leagues. All right. NHL real quick. Montreal blows out Buffalo rather, 6-2. Cole Caulfield had a goal and assist. The Habs lead that series 2-1. The other series, one of the series out west, Anaheim and Vegas, is tied at 2 because Anaheim got a couple of points from Alex Killorn, and they beat Vegas last night 4-3. Christopher Rayton wins the Truist Championship in Charlotte. He carded a 2/69 Sunday. He won by 2. It's his first PGA Tour win. He's the second player ever from Norway to win on the tour. Who's the first? Who's the other player? You know your golf, Andy. Who's the other player from Norway to win? Victor Hovland.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
Here's your Mitch Lanswell poll question of the day. How much does streaming sports bother you? Not at all. It's starting to concern me. I can't afford the apps. Those are your options. I say this only, we'll get into this, only because there have been some very vocal people about this nationally. In case you missed this, Jacob deGrom over the weekend earned his 1,900th career strikeout. He did so against the Cubs. He is the second fastest pitcher to reach that milestone. Games and innings. All right. Who's the fastest? It was his 256th appearance as a starter. So in 256 career games, he struck out 1,900, now over 1,900 batters. There's only one pitcher in history to record number 1,900 faster. Who was it?
If I had to guess, I'd say Randy Johnson.
You are correct.
That's the name I would think of right away.
Randy Johnson did it in his 252nd game all time, which tells you something about some others like Nolan Ryan. Okay.
It'll always be with Jacob deGrom too. Like, just imagine if he didn't have some of the injuries. Like, gosh,
I know.
Who knows, man? That's great. Yeah. It's crazy when I saw that, because it's just to think about it. If he was healthy the whole time is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy who's had some arm troubles, right? And I'm a little surprised because I thought it would have been. I thought there had to have been more pitchers than Randy Johnson to get there. We're talking about games here. He's 37. Think of that. He's 37 and he's got 256 career games. All right. This is a guy who, if you look at his starts over the last 8 years, 12, 15, 11, 6, 3, 30 last year, 8 this year. Not a lot because of the injuries. All right. I want to give credit where credit is due. We were talking about the Knicks a little bit. They sweep their way into the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive season. And they await the winner of the Pistons and Cavs series, which will be the Pistons. Philadelphia, in the meantime, you talk about a bummer. The Flyers were swept by Carolina, and we'll get more into that a little bit later on in Hero and Heels. But they were swept by Carolina in the second round. The Sixers were swept by the Knicks in the second round. As much jubilation as there was for them beating Boston, coming back from 3 games to 1 down and winning Game 7 in Boston, The Sixers deserved a lot of credit there. The problem is in their losses. That includes the sweep of the Knicks, but not solely the sweep of the Knicks. The Sixers were outscored by 109 points. In their losses, 11 of them. No, 7 of them, but 11 playoff games. They were outscored 109. The worst 11-game span in a single season postseason in their franchise's history.
And Joel Embiid said he was happy with it, though. So,
yeah, is that unbelievable? And by the way, that's not a quote taken out of context.
No, it's not
at all. That was when I heard that, I thought, you selfish ass. I mean, who wants it? All right, we don't need to get into that. I'm not a huge fan of Joel Embiid. I want guys who can play, and I want guys who play for one another. I don't need a guy who's out there saying, "Yeah, I'm fine with everything."
No, but seriously, that's the joke that we've made sometimes. Like after you get the obvious, like, how do you feel after like a player loses or something? That's like if they gave that answer, right? It's just.
Well, I know.
I mean, it's a little different, but
you and I, in doing interviews, we don't like the stand pat answer.
No, yeah,
right?
for sure.
No, okay, but holy crap! I mean, you're revealing something there, are you not?
That's what it feels like to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was a real answer, like 100% based on the way he said. Like he was speaking from his own feelings. It felt like to me, but
oh yeah. Deep down inside, it's kind of like when you're out with certain people and they start drinking a little bit, their true personality can come out every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how you feel with that moment right there. How disappointed are you really that your team just lost? Your team just got eliminated. Let me get to this. I saw this over the weekend and I was a little surprised. SI.com came out with what they consider their top 10 best catchers in baseball. Where do you think Dylan Dingler, if he ranks at all, ranks on this top 10 list?
I would guess towards the middle. So I'd say like 5 or 6 probably.
Yeah, it's a good guess. They have Patrick Bailey at number 10. He was just traded to the Cleveland Guardians, so good for them for making a move. Adley Rutschman, who I said before the season would have a nice bounce-back year. I predicted that. And through 22 games, slashing .313, an on-base percentage of .368, and a slug of .563. They've got him listed at 9. Gabriel Moreno at 8. Shea Langoliers, who might be a little low, at 7. And at 6, they've got Dylan Dingler. And here's what they write. He captured a Gold Glove in his very first MLB season, could very well rack up a bunch during his career. Though he has a relative dearth of experience, he's still a leader on a team trying to make a third straight playoff trip. Dingler's value also increased with the implementation of the ABS challenge system, automatic balls and strikes. Of all backstops with a meaningful sample size, he's the best with a success rate of 90.5% to this point of the season. At the dish, his batting average is .278. They go into some offensive statistics, even more on his shoulders as he tries to shepherd an injury-ridden staff through some dark times with high expectations. Very well written, right? Number 5, they got Drake Baldwin of the Braves. Number 4, Alejandro Kirk of the Blue Jays. Number 3, William Contreras of the Brewers, rock solid. Will Smith at number 2, who I happen to think would be number 1. They got Cal Raleigh at number 1. Raleigh, who had a really rough start. Here's the problem with Dingler recently, all right? And this came from, I believe, Chris McCoskey of the Detroit News, that he had a long early batting practice session before yesterday's game. He was hitting .302 in the middle of April. Last 15 games, he is 10 for 62. So below 160. So right now, against lefties this year, he's batting under 200. And that's a little bit of an issue. That has to get rectified without question.
Yeah, no, he's going through it for sure right now.
Yeah,
like you can see it at the plate, no doubt.
Yeah. My point is this. Everyone goes through it.
Yep. It's a long season. So
okay.
I'm not like overly concerned about him. I feel like he's got the talent and ability, but
me either. It is simply, though, the hardest thing for you not to comment on. for some reason or another, other sports, maybe not football. We get really hyperbolic about football, but I understand why, because there's only 17 games, soon to be 18. And who knows, with Roger Goodell in charge, eventually they may want to play as many as basketball. He cares that much about his players. Anyway, football, because you get geared up for an entire week, one game, you just break down to at nauseum. Baseball, 1 week, and we've decided whether or not a player can actually play. It is so difficult in this sport not to overreact to a player's slump or a player's success. It is an absolute grind that every single player, outside of maybe Stan Musial. I mean, Stan Musial in his first game ever went 2 for 4. Okay. In his first game as a Major League Baseball player, he went 2 for 4. And after that, he's probably one of the more underrated players of all time. I really believe that. Him, Hank Aaron, Pete Rose. I know you're probably going, wait a minute. Hank Aaron was the home run king, and Pete Rose had the longest hitting streak and career hits. Yeah, but people don't talk about him, is kind of my point. But after that, after going 2 for 4, Stan Musial's batting average that ended up being a lifetime 331 never went below 317. Think about that for a minute. That's how good of a hitter he was. This is a guy who, in his career, hit 331 and hit 475 home runs. All right? He led the league in hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. But his batting average for his career never went below 317, I believe. I mean, hell, listen to this. At age 41, he hit 330. That's not bad. So you're going to overreact. There's no question. I'm going to overreact. You're going to overreact. We're going to be shaking our heads at some point. We're going to be trumpeting one dude who had a hell of a week, and another guy who's struggling. We're going to say, you got to send him down. But things happen. All right? So you can't get caught up in certain stats. And just like you can't get caught up in certain basketball stats either, especially when it comes to a certain Piston. When we come back, we will dive into that and how one guy has proven just how valuable he is without necessarily jumping off the box score screen to you, me, and everybody else. We'll explain when we come back here on X's and Bros. It is a Mondays with Mitch at 7:18 here on X's and Bros. We're glad you're with us on the Michigan Sports Network.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3.
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com. The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, Together, we can make a difference.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Motown Legends, TNT, together again. Temptation. For Tops, Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tickets start at $55 and on sale now at the box office and etix.com. Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Temps and Tops, together again.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Saturday night, May 23rd.
Carry on my wayward son.
Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort welcomes multi-platinum legends, Kansas. Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office or etix.com. Don't miss the best of classic rock. Kansas returns to Soaring Eagle Saturday, May 23rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
those are the exact same shots we'll take again. You know, those are good shots we got from guys who can make those shots, guys who have made those shots in the regular season, in the playoffs. We'll take them any day of the week. You know, really, it's just about how we generate those looks. I thought they came in the flow of the offense. You know, that was probably a huge reason why we were down 16.5 as well, whatever the number was. But at the same time, you know, we trust each other. I thought we did a good job even second half of trusting them, continuing to shoot those shots. You know, it's a series. This is a game that we had a great opportunity to take advantage of. At the end of the day, love the way that we fought back, love the positives we can take from it, and be ready for the next one.
How many people use that phrase at the end of the day? You use it a lot. We hear it constant.
I think we do.
in life. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 here on the Michigan Sports Network, broadcasting throughout the great state of Michigan. We're in Cadillac on WKAD, the Ticket 93.7 FM. At our flagship station, Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, Holland, serving that great area on WMAX 96.1 FM, the game. Petoskey and Charlevoix, we reach you on the Ticket Northern Michigan, WMBN 104.7 and 1340 AM. In Traverse City on WKAD 93.7 FM, the Ticket, and WVFN AM Lansing, 7:30 AM, the game. Saw some friends in Lansing on Saturday at the Strikeout Baseball event. Fred Heumann, our good friend, and Jack Ebling as well. So they were there to support all the happenings that were taking place at Strikeout Baseball as they opened it up. John Smoltz was there, and what a job Jeff Lazaros and those folks have done. It was a special, special day. Glad you can be with us, whether it's listening on any of those great station affiliates that also carry the huge show later on today from 3 until 7, or here streaming live on X and on Facebook and on YouTube as well. You can text us by texting Sports Radio 21,000. Call us on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843, or join the chat on the streaming device that you're watching us on right now. Now, I would say this. Freddie, our good friend, is always willing to text us, and we greatly appreciate it because he always gives us some really good stuff, actually. Would be a very good radio producer sometime. He said, I didn't know if you were describing Duran or Zach Short this morning, because Duran told all of us how much of a dog he has in him. So glad to see how we're finding out 2 years later he is still lumbering down the court, looking to feast on the Wizards with a slam dunk. Well, I think J.B. Bickerstaff said this over the weekend, and he said it very well. He says, it's not about points with Jalen Duran. It is about some of the other things that he does so well. And it hasn't been as evident in the postseason. You can't deny that. I like Jalen Duran. Freddie doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and try to protect him. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you something that isn't true. You've got eyes. You can see it. Now, are your eyes a little clouded because of your dislike for him? Absolutely. In other words, he can't do anything right for you. You think it's against Washington, and that is completely untrue. Simply, it's just not true. I mean, when we sit there and you just want to talk about the teams that he did poorly, or played really well against teams that aren't very good, is basically what you're saying, and you're conveniently forgetting some of the other games where he was very effective for his team. All right, so. For example, against Boston earlier this year, he had 24 and 18. So let's be careful when we just want to sit there. I get that you don't like certain players. I get it. All right. But don't tell me that he built a 20 and 11 resume, 19 and a half, 10 and a half. Okay. I'm going to round up. You don't like it, but so be it. Don't tell me that he did that based solely on beating the Washington Wizards. Because that's ridiculous. And you know it. That's the problem. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and he's definitely, I mean, he has done more in the past bunch of games, but I think the one thing I kept seeing a little bit of debate about was Paul Reed had a pretty good game.
Absolutely.
He played pretty well, and down the stretch, I think some people were upset they didn't leave him in.
Yep,
I think that's one of the, same. I'm with that. I think that could have been a game where, if you're going to go with this field stuff with your rotation, what's working, you got to leave it. I mean, he didn't miss a shot. At that point, he was playing good and overall bringing energy. Like, I feel like keeping him in towards the end of the game would have been beneficial. But.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I would have left him in. He was a plus 11, I believe. I was looking at the box score. Paul Reed was a plus 11. Jalen Duren was a minus 14. I'm not going to sit there and stick up for a guy who's struggled the way he did. But I would have absolutely started him in the game. I would have started Jalen Duren.
Yeah, no, I would never have changed that.
I mean, look, yeah, we just get so caught up in, okay, I can't stand this guy, so this is what I'm going to keep doing. And it's just, you lose arguments that way because you can't take somebody for their word because it's already a biased opinion. Okay, I think Minnesota's a pretty good basketball team. They've got, a defensive player of the year candidate on a regular basis, Rudy Gobert. Jalen Duren had 22 and 14. This is against them. This isn't about a regular season game. This is about the postseason. He has not been good enough in the postseason, period. I'm not going to debate that. Was it mismanaged by J.B. Bickerstaff? I think so. But I also have to remind myself that I thought he should have pulled Danis Jenkins in the series against Orlando. And Jenkins was a big reason they won the last 3 games of that series. I would have played certain guys more as well. And we're not getting it. He's stayed true to his rotation. Let me ask you this. Duren's a punching bag, and probably deservedly so. How come nobody's saying a damn thing about Isaiah Stewart? Can you answer me that?
No, it's
Have
a good
you
question.
seen what's he done in this series? You know what he's done? He's collected 7 rebounds and 12 points in 3 games. In the last game, he had 9 minutes. It was only 9 minutes, 4 and 2. The previous game in which they won, game 2, he played 15, 16 minutes. He had 2 points and 2 boards, Andy. Nobody's saying a damn thing about that. Maybe it's because there are certain things that he's doing that we don't always see. Maybe there are certain numbers that we don't necessarily have to associate with. Okay?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he might get the benefit of the doubt of being the bench player that gets the hustle, kind of points more or whatever if he's doing that. If you're like seeing his effort out there on the floor, I guess just maybe because he's the bench guy, he doesn't take as much of a brunt of Jalen Duren has in this series, just because people are expecting more because of what he did all regular season. But I'm still with you on the fact they should be starting Jalen Duren. And the other thing you were kind of mentioning about J.B. Bickerstaff, I mean, with the way that the Pistons team is set up and how much they rely on their depth, like he's going to pull the wrong trigger sometimes. Like either way, whether we think Paul Reed should have stayed in or not. Sometimes he's going to do it right. Sometimes he's going to do it wrong. I think if you or me were the coach, we'd do the same thing. We'd be making the same mistakes at times. So
I would be. I would have played Paul Reed because ride the hot hand, I suppose.
That was it for me.
Yeah, a guy who's doing just about everything right. And a texter says, "Listen, it's funny how the coach wants to change the narrative. It's not about the points." That's true. I mean, this team needs points from its guys. Like what you're getting from Tobias Harris is a massive bonus.
It's huge.
Cade Cunningham cannot carry this team by himself. The other guys have to be part of it. It may not always be about the points. The points have to be part of the solution. Is my exact point. And Asar Thompson is a guy who has done things that not many people have ever done. So, for example, he's the 3rd fastest in NBA history in a postseason series to reach 150 points, 25 steals, and 20 blocks. The other are Anthony Davis and Michael Jordan. In fact, so far this year, going into last night's game, the what do they call them? The stocks, I should say, steals and blocks. Victor Wembanyama leads all players with 41. Asar Thompson has 38. Tobias Harris is 23. That's impressive. Steals and blocks combined. Stocks. All those things that he has. I mean, those two guys are making differences in other ways. But the difference, Harris is scoring in addition to that. Duren's not. And that's the point, I think, that Freddie and other texters and other viewers and guys who listen, players who watch these games are all about. When we come back, we'll ask Mitch Lyons about that. He joins us Mondays with Mitch. with Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth. He joins us on the
Mitch
other side.
Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
If you're the largest selling comedy recording artist in history,
you might be a redneck.
Jeff Foxworthy, Friday, June 12th, inside the Soaring Eagle Entertainment Hall.
Our parents can't text and our children can't write.
Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office and online at etix.com. Laugh it up at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, Friday, June 12th with Jeff Foxworthy.
My father-in-law got his chest hair caught in his zipper.
SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu. Coming up later today at 3 on The Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Monday morning on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. Glad you're with us. It's awesome stuff. No question about Pistons and Cavs tonight. Every Monday at 7:18, we do Mondays with Mitch. Our friend Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth joins us to talk sports and talk life in general. Go to his website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. You can call him today, 866-85-STEEL. You sign up for the free newsletter. You pick up his book, Retirement of Steel, that provides people with retirement advice, digital copy for free right there on the website. He's also a featured expert in the documentary Retirement Deception. It's a film that protects people from the deceptions of retirement planning. There's a free streaming code on that website. All right? So make sure you've got that. And right now, you can get their Roth Blueprint offer. You call at 866-85-STEEL. You can speak with a pro at Mitch Lyons Wealth and see if a Roth conversion makes sense to you. Sometimes those terms are right over a lot of people's head. Not for Mitch Lyons and his team. They know what the hell they're doing. They want to help you with your finances moving forward. I was just having this conversation with my daughter who just graduated from MSU, and I said it's never too early to learn about your finances. The best way to do it, go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, and he joins us. Hey, how was Mother's Day, Mitch?
That was great, Shep. We honored my wife Angela and her mother, and it was a really nice time and just a good time had by all, man. Mothers are the best, and for those of you that still have yours, make sure you appreciate every day. I lost my mom a couple years ago, and it's not the same without her being around.
I agree 100%. It's so well said. They are the rock of the family. All right. What's your confidence with the Pistons up 2-1? What's your confidence with them, quote unquote, bouncing back tonight in Cleveland?
Well, it's not going to be easy. I mean, as we've seen, home field or home court has its advantages, and I think they can bounce back. I think this is a huge game, though, because I think if they don't get it done, it gives the Cavs a huge jolt of confidence. They're back in the series. If you put them down 3-1, makes it tough. Obviously, the Pistons came back from 3-1, but most teams don't. So I think that kind of changes the mindset going back to Detroit. But I look for the Pistons to bounce back tonight, maybe shoot a little better, less turnovers, hopefully from Cade, and we get it done.
How much longer you think this series goes?
I think if they can get it done tonight, then they'll close it out at Detroit at home on Wednesday.
What's your biggest?
Because the Knicks are home resting, right?
Yeah, they're rested, and that always brings up the rest versus rust argument.
Right.
I remember 2006 vividly, where the Tigers rested while the Cardinals were playing in long NLCS series, and it sure didn't help the Tigers, even though they were resting. But maybe that's a different sport and a different comment and different thought for a different day. But speaking of the Tigers, they just snapped their 5-game slide last night. They've got 15 guys on the DL. Kerry Carpenter just joined the rest of what seems to be the entire roster. What do you feel is the biggest concern right now for that team?
Well, it's not always about your ability; it's about your availability. And there's not a lot of guys available right now, and that's really tough to win games at the highest level when you're bringing up guys from AAA and you've got that many arms and players on the bench. We've all seen that the last couple of years with the Lions, and it's really hard to get it done. I know we can all say next man up and all that, but at the end of the day, most major league programs don't have 25 guys that are really worthy of being on a roster, that you really want on the roster maybe. And when you start dipping into 35 and 40, you're going to lessen the talent pools considerably.
Noticed over the weekend, unfortunately, and I was in Lansing at Strikeout Baseball with John Smoltz, who played for Bobby Cox in Atlanta, and Bobby Cox passed away over the weekend. One of the best ever. Here's a guy who's a Hall of Famer, 29 years as a manager, 4-time manager of the year, 5 times he won the pennant, won the World Series, 4th most all-time in victories, all right, and 16 postseason appearances most all-time. Who do you think is the best coach all-time in any sport?
Boy, well, number one, not tip of the cap to Bobby Cox. He was down there when I was down with the Falcons, and he was a legend down there for sure.
Yeah,
and highly regarded. Through some pretty good era there in the 90s with the Braves. They only got the one World Series, but man, they were in it every single year. But that's such a subjective question, Shep. As you think about it, I mean, there's the wins component of it. Obviously, got to win. But what kind of difference are you making in guys' lives? And I look at that. You know, I look at a guy like Coach K, who obviously won a lot of titles, was in so many Final Fours, but also I think gave a lot of life lessons to his kids. You know, you look at a guy like Tom Izzo, he's only got the one championship, but guys would die for him, and that's why you see guys coming back every year. You know, to his reunion and stuff. They all appreciate what he did and the imprint he made on their lives. Obviously, you hear a lot of great stories about, you know, John Wooden and all those championships, but beyond the championships. And I think that's what makes a difference. And, you know, Bill Belichick's won a lot of titles, but I don't necessarily hear guys speaking glowingly of him on the impact
That's
they
a
made
good point.
that he made in their personal life. So it's subjective.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Nick Saban has to be in that conversation, without a doubt.
For sure, for sure.
Scotty Bowman, from a winning standpoint, I love the Wooden example, because I think that's one of those perfect examples of a guy who does make a difference in young people's lives. I don't know how much professional coaches can make in a pro's life. Like, who inspired you? Who made a difference from a coaching staff in your life? It was probably more of your college coaches, or maybe even your high school coaches, than your professional coaches, don't you think?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, George Perlos had a huge imprint on my life. Still quote Coach Perlos every day, just about. A guy that did make an impact, and I think a lot of guys around the NFL would agree with this. He wasn't a head coach, but Frank Gans was a special teams coach. And Frank, man, we used to keep reams of notebooks on his stuff, and he gave a history lesson every day, and just a lot of great life lessons. And to a man, you know, I watched Frank's funeral when he died at age 70 from a blood clot during a knee surgery. And anyway, I watched his funeral at the Naval Academy, because he was a naval pilot. But every guy that got up there, Frank always talked about speaking the same language, and every one of those guys over a 30-40 year career, all were saying the same phrases, the same language, you know, that Frank spoke. And it was interesting to watch just what an impact he made for generations, really.
Yeah, I did not know that he was in the Navy like that.
Yeah, he was a naval fighter pilot. Yeah.
I did not know that. But I did know he made a massive difference for the Lions when he was a special teams coach here. Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth joining us, as we do Mondays with Mitch every Monday, 7:18. Check out his website, MitchLyonsWealth.com, or call him today, 866-85-STEEL. Get their Roth Blueprint offer. Call and speak with a pro at Mitch Lyons Wealth to see if a Roth conversion makes sense to you. Mike Trout is a name that has been bandied about as a possible trade candidate from the Angels. He's having a hell of a year so far. Would you trade for him if you were the Tigers? You need a right-handed power, and you need somebody in center field. Would you do it?
I guess at what cost would be the question. And then, you know, are you going to get enough guys back to make some waves this year? If you feel that's the case, then, you know, maybe you go all in if you're confident that, you know, Scoobs is going to be back in the back half of the year, and you're going to get make a run at this not overly powerful Central Division. If you can get in the playoffs, anything can happen. And, you know, so maybe is the question, but how much do you give up for him? You know, that would be the question too. But obviously you're not going to get a big stick like that without giving up something. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But they got to win some games now. I don't care how many guys are out. They've got to stay in this thing and at least stay within striking distance till they get some guys back.
Okay, real quick, give me one player in any sport who's the most underrated in your mind.
Ooh, well, being a football guy, a local guy that I think is underrated. I think he gets some flowers, but I think he's still underrated. Jack Campbell, I think, just because of the guys surrounding him and his draft class and the kind of the high marquee players around him on defense, you know, Branch and then Hutch and some of the guys that were drafted around him. I don't think he gets all the accolades he probably deserves. I love the way he plays. But the guy in the NFL that I think has for years has been underrated is Levante David down in Tampa Bay.
Good
guy has played 14 years. Just talk about availability. He's missed very few games. He's just all over the field and just an impact player and just goes about his business. I've always respected the way he played the game.
Excellent pick there for sure. I've got one on the other side. Mitch, always good to visit, buddy. Hope you have a great week.
Have a good week.
We'll talk soon. All right. That's Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth. I've got mine. Andy has his underrated player. I'm going to tell you why I think this guy is when we come back on X's and Bros, brought to you by Meyer.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Now, Josh oversees the West Michigan operations. Dorn Mayhew's worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are one of the top accounting, CPA, and business firms in the world. They continue to grow. They can help your business with any accounting, CPA, or business need you have. And also Dorn Mayhew and Josh and the West Michigan operation, they present Talking Hoops with John Beeline. We do it every Tuesday on the Huge Show through the NBA Finals. So how far will the Pistons go in the playoffs? You can hear Coach Beeline, Josh Garvey, and myself every Tuesday on the Huge Show as we talk hoops, presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Dorn Mayhew. Josh Garvey oversees the West Michigan operation. Their worldwide headquarters for Dorn Mayhew are in Troy, Michigan.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sportsnet. Sign up like the Huge Show did with the Detroit Sportsnet Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Okay, welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate Mitch Lyons, as always, from Mitch Lyons Wealth. Mondays with Mitch. 8:18, we've got Hero and Heel. That's your best and worst of the week. Feel free. Join us. And you can text it to us, Sports Radio 21,000. You can call us with it, Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Or you can join us in the chat and comment in that regard, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, or on X as well. I did ask Mitch Lyons, the athlete maybe who is one of the more underrated players, and whatever. It doesn't have to be any one particular sport. His Levante David is a really good one. I think there are certain players you can bring up in just about any sport. I've brought up Katie Ledecky before, for example, in swimming. Not many people, their mind doesn't go there. But when, over the last decade, when she's shattering world records, dominating long distance events, kind of redefining what it is and what excellence is all about in the pool, I think she's an underrated superstar. All right. But that's not my example. I've used that before. Here's my example. John Havlicek. Ever heard of him? Played at Ohio State. Try not to hold that against him. He played with the Celtics. I'm going to give you who's viewed as the greatest player of all time. Michael Jordan, right? Is that fair? I mean, some people may say LeBron James these days. I wouldn't. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
All right.
Over.
Is he? Would you say he's at least one of the players in NBA history who's a standard?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready? John Havlicek, 11-time All-NBA performer. Michael Jordan, 11-time All-NBA performer. John Havlicek, 13-time All-Star. Michael Jordan, 14-time All-Star. John Havlicek, 8 World Championships. Michael Jordan, 6 World Championships. John Havlicek, 26,000 points. Michael Jordan, 32,000 points. Okay, different rules, but whatever. John Havlicek, 8,000 rebounds. Michael Jordan, 6,000. John Havlicek, 6,000 assists. Michael Jordan, 5,000 assists. John Havlicek, 31 triple-doubles. Michael Jordan, 28 triple-doubles. John Havlicek went 8-0 all-time in the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan went 6-0 all-time in the NBA Finals. Different era. I get it. I just wanted you to have a good comparison there. John Havlicek never gets mentioned. And I'm not saying he's the best of all time by any stretch. He's not even the best Celtic. I would say Larry Bird is. Bill Russell. One of those two. John Havlicek's in the conversation. The reason I compare him to Michael Jordan is because he is the standard. And he would be my standard too. And it's a different era. And there are more teams. And there are more Europeans. Even today, there are more Europeans than when they played with the era of Michael Jordan. But I do think it's a pretty good comparison when you're taking John Havlicek's resume and comparing it to Michael Jordan's resume. So there is perhaps one of the most underrated players in NBA history, if not sports history. Andy, who do you got for us?
Well, if I had to go with one, I mean, there's obviously a couple good, but mine is just more recent right now. I'm going with Zach Allen, the Denver Broncos defensive end.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't talk about him. And I mean, he got the most pressures in the NFL last year with 40. He's just, if we want to talk about that all the time with Aiden Hutchinson, right? How many pressures he gets on the quarterback. That's definitely an important statistic. And I do think it matters more than what people say. He's consistent. He's been available. I think overall he's one of the better defensive ends in the league right now. And no one really talks about him. I feel like if you were to say that name, it's also a very generic sounding name. People just wouldn't know who he is even. So
I think that's a really good one. How much do pressures matter? You brought up Aiden Hutchinson, and we talk about it a lot. I don't. But how important do you think it is?
I still think it's important. I think anytime you're getting back there and causing havoc and making a quarterback have to make a different play, it matters. So now how they're graded and what is considered a pressure, now that might change things a little bit. But when you have 40 of them, I think it's a significant number that it definitely matters.
Good. I'm in agreement with you. I don't talk about it nearly enough. I think it matters. I don't think it's the be all end all. In the end, your job, and Aiden Hutchinson makes a lot of money doing it. His job is to get to the quarterback. It's not to pressure the quarterback, because there are quarterbacks who get pressured, step up, and still deliver a pass. As a defensive end, as an edge rusher, and as a guy who's among the highest paid at what he does, his job is to get there and sack the quarterback. Sometimes it can be as simple as that. If we can oversimplify certain things with Jared Goff, and we do, hey, your job is to complete passes, your job is not turn it over, and your job is to throw touchdown passes. That's your job. We try to oversimplify that a little bit. I think we can oversimplify it with Aiden Hutchinson too. Is that your only one? Just want to make sure I've got you covered.
The only other one that I had that I was like debating going off of that with was Robert Thomas, because I feel like he's not talked about as much for the Blues. You brought him up a few times in the show,
Yeah.
but I think that, and
A guy I would trade
for the Red Wings. Yeah, I think he'd be great for the Red Wings. I just think that because of the market he plays in, I feel like people just don't talk about him as much as he should, because he's a really good player. But,
yeah, and he's only 26.
Yeah, man. So, like he's got time to keep doing really good. So.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I mean, it's hockey, so people aren't going to talk about it that much anyway.
Yep,
unfortunately.
exactly.
All right, here's another one for you. You ready? I saw a tweet over the weekend. Best draft pick ever. One player by every NFL franchise. So, for example, they put Larry Fitzgerald for the Cardinals, Julio Jones for the Falcons, Ray Lewis for the Ravens, Bruce Smith for the Bills, Cam Newton for the Panthers. All right, we go on and on. Bears, Walter Payton, Anthony Munoz, Bengals, Jim Brown for the Browns, Roger Staubach for the Cowboys. This is just somebody's opinion. Who would you have for the Lions? Who would be their best draft pick of all time?
Best draft pick. I mean, it's hard to not just go to Calvin Johnson, I guess, because he's considered one of the best players at his position of all time. So that's probably
you wouldn't say Barry Sanders, since he's one of the best of all time too?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Yeah, I mean that's also possible. I guess maybe more because Calvin Johnson was when I started watching the Lions. I guess I think about that all the time, but. Yeah, I mean, either one of those guys would definitely fill the role. Barry Sanders is maybe the best of all time. So,
yeah. The thing about this is, and Calvin Johnson, as people know, was drafted second overall in 2007. Do you remember who was taken ahead of him, by the way? If I said to you, biggest bust in NFL history, does that help at all?
No, I'm
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh my gosh, man, that's crazy to think back.
Yeah, so Jamarcus Russell was taken by the Raiders first, and then that leaves Calvin Johnson.
That's
for Detroit.
insane. I can't imagine.
That you need a little bit of luck. Like when people say, "Well, that was obvious," that fell in his lap is a phrase we oftentimes hear. Of course, you were going to take Calvin Johnson. Not necessarily. Because there was a team before that who didn't take him. And by the way, you could have taken Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas went after Calvin Johnson. He was a Hall of Famer. You could have taken Adrian Peterson. He was taking draft picks later, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You could have taken Darrelle Revis, Patrick Willis. There were a lot of different choices you could have had. So when people say, well, that was obvious. Look, Barry Sanders was third overall in 1989. And when Troy Aikman went to the Cowboys, and then the Packers took Tony Mandrich. So when people say, well, obviously you taking Barry Sanders. No, Derek Thomas went after Barry Sanders, Hall of Famer. Deion Sanders went after Derek Thomas, Hall of Famer. You could take either one of those guys. Although Deion Sanders told the Lions don't draft him because he wouldn't play for him. Hell, you could have taken Steve Atwater a little bit later on. He was a Hall of Famer. So to say it's always and so obvious to me is a little ridiculous. That's number one. Number two, I got the sense that this list is basically saying the best player this franchise has ever had.
That's kind of what I was just going to get at is like
Right.
the other part of this question is like whenever you get asked it is you have to think about when somebody got taken too. Like if somebody got taken in the 5th round, that was one of the better players ever to play for the team too. That matters a lot because of where they got taken at. But.
Right. So with that said, so you and I are on the same page there. With that said, could I argue that the best player the Lions have ever drafted, considering where he was chosen, is Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think you could definitely argue that if he keeps up on the pace he's on right now.
I'm not saying he's better than Calvin Johnson as a wide receiver. He's not. I'm not saying he's better at his position than Barry Sanders was at his. I am not. I'm saying to you that for where he was drafted in the 4th round in the 2021 draft, with 111 players chosen ahead of him, that he, and considering what he's done as a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro, and considered a top 5 wide receiver in the league as a 4th-round pick, that he would be the best draft pick they've ever had.
It's definitely an argument, I think, even already at this point. Like, I don't think what he's done for this era of Lions football, if he wasn't there, imagine where they'd be at. I mean, he's a huge part of it. So it's hard to argue that that's a thing. Yeah.
Right on. Via text, underrated. Fred Warner, John Randall, 2 very good ones. Shep, how is Calvin the best draft pick ever? He was about 45 and 90 as a Detroit Lion. It's laughable. Well, let's be careful. You're going to tab the losing associated with one guy. Come on, man. I mean, he's one of the more electrifying, productive, hardest to cover players at his position in the history of the league.
Yeah, he's not playing defense for the Lions either, by the way, in that time of football.
Yeah, I think that's
blocking or anything.
That's a way too simplistic attitude. Let me ask you this: did you think Joe Thomas was a great left tackle? 100%. How good were the Browns with Joe Thomas as their tackle? Not very. So I'm not buying that.
You get drafted where you get drafted. I mean, at the end of the day, and other people make decisions around you. I think it's very unfair to hold that against great players. Like that.
100%. Yeah, that to me is ridiculous. I just don't buy it. That's completely unfair. There are plenty of great players who have played, unfortunately, on really bad teams, and they're going to get saddled by some. Not by all, but by some, as a player who has not been, as productive or as a winner, quote unquote, as a winner, which is to me just ridiculous. It's just not right. Look, Tony Gonzalez, the greatest tight end of all time, my mind. How good were the teams he played on? I mean, you could go up and down the list. And you could take every franchise, and there was a bad period of time in that franchise's history where they struggled mightily. They just weren't any good, right? Is that on that one player, even though that one player is considered one of the greatest of all time? No, it's not on them. And it's just that's way too simplistic to suggest something like that. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Our text line is Sports Radio 21,000. And not to mention the fact that, you've got a wide receiver who requires somebody else to throw him the football, requires people to block for the person who is throwing him the football. And as Andy just mentioned, requires also what? Somebody to actually defend while you're not on the field. That's why football, I think, goes right out the window with this stuff, Andy. It goes right out the window.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though I'm the one who brought up the topic, it goes out the window because think about it. It's the only sport outside of a couple of guys, you're not playing both ways.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not Chuck Bednarik. All right. It's not Deion Sanders. You're not playing offense and defense. Charles Woodson did it a little bit. Deion Sanders did a little bit. Chuck Bednarik did a lot. You don't play both ways in the National Football League. So what I do offensively, hi, Dan Marino, there's nothing I can do about the defense if my Killer Bees defense at the time didn't do what they were supposed to do against Joe Montana and the Niners in the Super Bowl, and they lost 38-16. Okay? Those are the things that other sports don't require. The other sports, hockey, you got to play both ways. You better back check. Otherwise, you're not going to get out there. Defense, unless you're LeBron James, you can't just play matador defense. You can't stay on one half of the court while the other team is going down there on a fast break, right? And the same thing in baseball. Outside of the designated hitter, you're playing defense. If you can't make a difference offensively and you're 0 for 3, maybe there's something you can do defensively to help. Football, that is not the case. Jared Goff gets a chance only to play offense, right? Cade Mays and Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs, they're only on offense. They need Jack Campbell and the rest of that defense to come through. If Aiden Hutchinson isn't getting to the quarterback, it affects everybody, but specifically on defense because the offensive guys can't get out there and do anything about it. So to blame Calvin Johnson, sorry, look at what his record was. Is it his fault that his defense was just horrid? Is it his, except for one specific season, is it his fault that his had no running game to support him? All you can do is go by based on what that player has done productively. We were just talking about, specifically how good of a draft pick it was. Okay. There was a point in time where certain players or certain teams, I should say, those games, their teams weren't very good. They weren't the best of the best. Willie Roaf was a great player for the Saints. Okay. How great were the Saints during his tenure? Now, with Drew Brees, it was very helpful, but there was a period of time at the start where it's like, okay, we're not very good. I mean, Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame. He had a losing record, for crying out loud. A little different. Okay. Tony Baselli, best Jacksonville Jaguar. I don't know what his overall record was. May not be as bad as Calvin Johnson's, but it can't be all that great. But we don't label it with tackles. And we shouldn't label it with wide receivers. We shouldn't label it with anybody, quite honestly. But they do it with quarterbacks. 818, we've got Hero and Heel. We welcome yours for sure. I said St. Brown because it's a 4th-round pick. And 112th overall. That's pretty impressive considering what he's done specifically individually, but also if you want to take it from the texture standpoint, what he's helped the team do. This hour brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort coming up, but the 7 o'clock hour here on X's and Bros brought to you by Meyer.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com. Huge here for Josh Garvey and his team at Dorn Mayhew. Now, Josh oversees the West Michigan operations. Dorn Mayhew's worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. They are one of the top accounting, CPA, and business firms in the world. They continue to grow. They can help your business with any accounting, CPA, or business need. you have. And also Doran Mayhew and Josh and the West Michigan operation, they present Talking Hoops with John Beeline. We do it every Tuesday on the Huge Show through the NBA Finals. So how far will the Pistons go in the playoffs? You can hear Coach Beeline, Josh Garvey, and myself every Tuesday on the Huge Show as we talk hoops, presented by one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms, Doran Mayhew. Josh Garvey oversees the West Michigan operation. Their worldwide headquarters for Doran Mayhew are in Troy, Michigan.
Motown Legends, TNT, together again. Temptation. Four tops. Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tickets start at $55 and on sale now at the box office at etix.com. Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Temps and tops together again.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
points off turnovers, and you guys essentially just not playing your best game, and it still kind of came down to the wire. Does that give you guys confidence when you win any game forward?
Nothing shakes our confidence. So we have confidence no matter what the turnout of this game was. So, yeah.
Love that. That's Hunter Patterson, who's been a frequent guest here on X's and Bros, asking the question of Azar Thompson. And Azar Thompson, obviously, as you heard there, not afraid to tell you, anybody who will listen, we are always a confidence bunch, no question. And it seems to show. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. In case you missed it overnight, Tigers salvaged one in the series, with Kansas City. They snapped their 5-game slide with a 6-2 win. Nice win for Detroit. Gage Workman hits a 2-run homer in the 6th, first of his career. Riley Green's on-base streak is now at 21 consecutive games. That is a career high for him. So it has kind of gone under the radar a little bit, but Detroit will take that, and they'll take the 6-3 win last night. They're going to head to New York to take on the Mets tomorrow. Justin Verlander moved to the 60-day IL. It's retroactive April 1st. Kerry Carpenter added to the 10-day IL with left shoulder soreness. That's why Gage Workman was added to the team. That's 15 now on the injured list for the Tigers. Montreal beats Buffalo 6-2. That series is 2-1 in favor of the Habs. Anaheim trims Vegas 4-3. That series is tied at 2 wins apiece. Pistons are back at it tonight in Cleveland against the Cavs, hoping to go up 3-1. Cleveland needs it to square the series while the Knicks wait. Knicks beat the Sixers 144-114. They hit an NBA record 25 triples, including 11 in the first quarter, and they outboarded Philly by 17. I saw the ESPN pre- and post-game show that everybody raves about with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson, and rightfully so, because it's so well done. Everybody's saying that it's going to be a quick series afterwards, that the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. That's what they're saying. I mean, whether you believe those guys or not, those guys are, I don't think they're always right by any stretch, but I think they're extremely knowledgeable, obviously based on their history. And they have been very opinionated about certain teams, including the Knicks during the year. Kenny Smith said it gets real again in the next round for the Knicks. Cade Cunningham is such a big guard. Cavs possibly most explosive backcourt in the NBA. This round was a bit of a cakewalk against Philly, but it's going to be different in the next round. Shaquille O'Neal said they're going to breeze through whoever they get next. If they play like this, they're going to breeze through whoever they play next. Charles Barkley said they had a cakewalk. Whoever is next is going to be difficult. Shaquille O'Neal said Knicks are going to the finals. That's pretty easy to say that right now. If Detroit wins tonight and they wrap things up in 5 games against a Cleveland team that is a lot better than Philadelphia, based on what those guys have actually even admitted, and New York, they're going to start dissecting. They're going to look at how Detroit beat the living snot out of New York in all 3 meetings this year. They might change their tune just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, the take from Shaq. That's just maybe you don't watch either of these teams enough, because I think they could definitely at least give them a fight.
Yeah, look, it's the number 1 show, and for good reason. Okay, because it's super entertaining and they're really good. I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is watching a ton of basketball. I just don't. I mean, I think he watches the game that they're about to do. He prepares for their broadcast, but I don't think he's sitting there going, I remembered. I shouldn't expect him to, because doing a national broadcast is a hell of a lot more difficult than doing a local one. But when you got to look back and does he remember that Detroit beat the living crap out of New York all 3 meetings? Maybe it just doesn't matter to him, which is fine. I understand that too. Mitch Lineswell poll question. How much does streaming sports bother you? Not at all. It's starting to concern me, or I can't afford all the apps. That's how it's getting right now. It's getting to be a little ridiculous when it comes to all these things, and that people have to go out and prepare for. They do. I mean, this is what it takes a lot of times for you to, Get the sport you love. They're making it off networks, and they're going to start doing it on streaming. And look at what Duke has tried to do. Duke has tried to cooperate with a streaming service so they can get certain things done for their basketball program. And then ESPN has stepped in and said, wait a minute, now we've got the ACC package. You don't have the ability or the right to go out and make a separate deal when we're paying the conference as much money as we are. This is what's happening right now. And I said this a long time ago. You can cut the cord all you want, and that's fine. I'm not saying everybody should, because there's plenty of options out there. But all these streaming services, if you bundle them all together, think of how much money you're spending. It's basically the same thing for cable. The difference is, cable's not carrying all these games any longer. Although a lot of them you have to. I mean, you still to a certain extent, need them for a lot of the things that you want to watch anyway. So we got Hero and Heel coming up at 8:18. The Lions schedule. Did you notice, by the way, the first Sunday night game for another, I think it's a streaming service, isn't Prime carrying it? I believe so, right?
Well, that's Thursday night would be Prime. So if it's the Thursday night,
Sunday
game.
night is NBC Peacock. That's right. That'll be September 13th. It's the Cowboys and Giants. What do you think?
That's the first Sunday night game of the year.
That'll be the first Sunday night game of the season.
Yeah. Maybe they're just leaning on the Cowboys audience there, because that's not my favorite. I don't know who else is playing that week. I guess I haven't looked at the whole schedule.
Yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't matter. They're all playing.
Right.
You can shift it any way you want. The first matchup, they got, first of all, it's interdivision, which is good. Obviously, a massive market, the number one market in New York. And let's face it, a lot of these things come down to superstardom. And when you've got John Harbaugh making his debut as the Giants head coach, and Jackson Dart being that guy, that face of an organization against Dak Prescott. I mean, think about it. You've got the number one market, and you've got the number one team. Cowboys are the number one team. I'm not saying they're the best team. I'm saying it's the team that is marketed the most. It's the team that brings in the most money. It's the most expensive franchise in North American sports. And then you've got the Giants at home in a massive market.
It'll be the Seahawks, I'm pretty sure, for Thursday night, because they always do that with like the team that won the Super Bowl the year before.
Don't they play the team they played in the Super Bowl?
It switches up. It's like the Lions play the Chiefs, remember? That one year. So they just kind of give them like whoever it is. So I would love to see it be the Rams personally, if they could somehow pull that off. But
well, that's interesting you say that, because the order of games during the Thursday night schedule, which is NFL Network, ESPN2, ESPN app, NFL Plus, all that other stuff, can change things a little bit, right? But when you've got 10 games that oftentimes draw interest, this is what a lot of websites will do. They'll give me the top 10 games on the schedule. And I saw this on NFL.com. The number one game they have is the Rams at Seattle, just like you said. They think that'll be the best game of the year.
I mean, it was a great matchup last year. I don't remember the one in the regular season.
They played twice last year.
Yeah. That second one that was like actually for a lot. I can't remember if that was a Thursday night game or not, but I just remember it was a great matchup.
The one in week 16?
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, they played 3 times, didn't they? Because they played in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yes, they did. Yep.
They have the number 2 game being Kansas City at Buffalo. Come on. You have Mahomes against Allen. You get that, right? The number 3 game they have is the Packers at the Bears. Historically, it's significant. Number 4 game is the Steelers and Ravens. Not if Will Howard's the quarterback in Pittsburgh. Number 5, the Bills and the Patriots. I like that one. Number 6, they got the Niners at the Rams. You're catching a theme here. Number 7, they got the Broncos at the Patriots. Those are all. Then Kansas City and Seattle. And lastly, Baltimore and Cincinnati. No Lions games, which I find interesting. The rematch of New England and Seattle they have is number 10. There is the Super Bowl rematch that we were referring to. When we come back, Hero and Heel. That's coming up next on X's and Bros. Stay with us.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. And it's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined.
The Tigers have not responded well to the news that they would be without Tarek Skubal for a couple of months. They immediately lost 5 straight. But other than a miserable Framber Valdez start, it hasn't been because of the pitching. Now it's the hitting that's the problem. After a big weekend in Cincinnati, where the Tigers bombed 9 home runs and scored 18 runs, their offense has disappeared. The Tigers have scored 37 runs in the 11 games after Cincy. They've hit .211 with no power, scored more than 4 runs just twice. Kevin McGonigal is cool, but that was expected. Wildy Green has lifted his average above 300, but Torkelson, Carpenter, Bierling are all hitting below 220, McKinstry and Perez below 190. The Tigers are going to get some pitching back by the end of the month, but right now, it's all about the bats.
Saturday night, May 23rd.
Carry on my wayward son.
Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort welcomes multi-platinum legends, Kansas. Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office or etix.com. Don't miss the best of classic rock. Kansas returns to Soaring Eagle Saturday, May 23rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Dad, here's 3 reasons why we should go to the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give.
Okay.
1, you can spend Father's Day weekend with some real golfers.
Ouch.
2, it's a good time for a good cause. Foodie fun, family fun, and fun helping feed neighbors in need.
And 3.
3, do you really need another reason?
Join the fun June 18th through 21st at the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. Learn more and get tickets at MeyerLPGAClassic.com.
18 after the hour here on X's and Bros. Welcome back on this Monday morning. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Time for Hero and Heels. We do this every Monday, 8:18. Freddie sent us a text, and he said his hero is definitely not caused that they passed, but came together. Sterling, it's John Sterling of the Yankees, who kudos to New York for putting the longtime announcers' initials and a patch on each jersey. Very classy move. Ted Turner and Bobby Cox in Atlanta left the same week. It was all meant to be. All three baseball guys. Ted Turner, of course, owner of the Atlanta Braves, CNN. I believe at one point owned the Atlanta Hawks as well. Bobby Cox, we had already mentioned in our segment with Mitch Lyons, Mondays with Mitch, and how instrumental he was in the game of baseball. Hall of Famer, 29 years as a manager, 16 postseason appearances, 4-time manager of the year, 5-time pennant winner, manager of the World Series, 2,500 wins plus, fourth most in history, and a guy who was also ejected more than any other manager in history. So all three of those men at the same time, those are the heroes for him. Let's get to our hero, and then we'll get to his heel and our heel as well. My hero is the Carolina Hurricanes. They swept Ottawa in the first round and allowed just 5 goals. Saturday night, they finished off a sweep of the Flyers in the second round. They allowed 5 goals in that series. The Canes become the first team to start the playoffs 8-0 since 1985. They reached the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season and the third time in 4 years. Folks, this will be the 4th time they play in the conference finals in their 8 seasons under Rod Brind'Amour, the former Spartan. They won a total of 1 game in the rounds during their previous 3 playoff appearances. They were 1-12. Rod Brind'Amour has them into the Eastern Conference Finals again. He's one of the best coaches in the National Hockey League, and he's one of the best winners, perhaps, for one organization in the league's history. They have now won, what was the stat last week, Andy? They have now won 97 playoff games in the history of their franchise, I believe. He's been part of 95 of those. Rod Brind'Amour, Carolina Hurricanes, my hero. How about yours?
That's a good one. I like it a lot. I'm staying local here in West Michigan. Grand Rapids Griffins. We haven't brought them up yet, but they moved on and won their series. They're the only 1 seed left in the AHL playoffs, and that's going into the divisional round. So I think that deserves a little bit of credit in its own right, I suppose. They won 5-2 on Friday at Van Andel to move on. The atmosphere was great. They won the series 3-1 overall. So after the first game, they looked good. Carter Mazur has 4 goals in 4 games. So that's good. So, MBN has scored. Axel Sandy and Pellick had a great goal. If you haven't seen that one yet, it's out there on social media. You can definitely find it. So, as much as there's been about the Red Wings lately that's been tough, I think with what the Griffins have done this series, it can give you a little bit of hope with some of those guys that you're definitely going to be seeing next year for them. So,
yeah, that's a really good one. I thought about that. I thought about Grand Rapids Griffins and how well they've played. It's been awesome. Following them as of late and talking about them. So kudos to them. We want to have some of their folks back on. We had Dominic Shine on last week. If you missed any of that, go to our social media pages and you'll find it. Andy has tweeted it out. I have as well. Really good guy and really fun to get to know him a little bit better. Time for the heel. For Scott Harris, for Freddie, the heel is Scott Harris, not trading Skubal and botching any pitching he signs or inherited. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who's the guy who's gotten better? Which pitcher has gotten better? Casey Mize has.
100%, yeah.
That's it. Since Scott Harris took over the Tigers, give me the pitcher who's made the impact you thought they would.
Nobody. I mean, he had some good signings, I guess, for a minute. Like Jack Flaherty gave you something the first year they got him, or the first time around. For a bit. And did he sign Lorenzen when they had him till the All-Star break and they traded him?
Yes.
I believe that was him too. So I guess like that, but no, nothing that has stuck long-term or, not really anything through the farm system that's been significant. No.
Yeah. I get that. Jack Flaherty, I don't want to nitpick. He had 18 starts. He was 7-5 before they traded him to the Dodgers. Now, look, in fairness to you, in order for you to get something from the Dodgers, he had to have been doing a decent job, right? So his ERA was under 3. He goes to Los Angeles, helps them win a World Series, went 6-2 in 10 starts. Wasn't great in the postseason, but was good enough. So I hear what you're saying. It bothered the hell out of me that people then said, we're just going to trade him and he'll come back. My whole argument to that had always been, why the hell would he come back? And he did come back, but that's because Detroit overpaid. Therein lies the caveat that nobody brings up. He didn't want to leave Los Angeles. It's his hometown team. You don't just think, okay, we'll just get rid of you. And by the way, we got a side deal. You're going to come back. Bull crap. He wanted to stay in Los Angeles. Dodgers didn't want him. That's the reason you got him back. You overpaid, and the Dodgers didn't necessarily want him. There's nobody. I mean, Kenta Maeda, look at all the different pitchers he's brought in. Who's been good?
Terrible, man. I mean, that's why.
Even
that's
Kyle
why
Finnegan this year has been, lately especially, been awful.
Like, he had a couple of those double plays I talked about earlier in the show last night that got him out of some trouble. And the last one was lucky at best. But yeah, no, I agree. That's a really good point about Flaherty that I didn't really think about as much, just because it was good the first time around. Like, he definitely overpaid the second time around. So that's a really fair point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Here's my heel. My heel is along those lines. The Tigers. They had lost 5 in a row before Sunday night. They had scored prior to last night 11 total runs in their previous 5 games with just 26 hits. Batting average, OBP, slugging, all dropped 10 points or more. Okay. The Tigers closed last year in their final 69 games, 28-41. Last year, they closed 28-41. They are 19-23 since. So, in other words, the last 110 games, Andy, they are 47-63. They have the 6th worst fielding percentage, the 6th most errors in all of baseball so far this season. I asked you before the season began, give me the time frame where you will judge this team. Andy McDonald's response was a simple one. He said 40 games, which is not unique. There's a lot of people who believe 40 games is enough. And I've said 50, but that's fine. Andy, you are at 41 games right now. Your team's 3 games under 500. It's hard to believe they have a run scoring differential of a +4. That blows my mind. But they are 3 games under 500, only 1.5 back of the division leader, but they are not a very good baseball team. How do you judge them?
The Tigers are a really unique case with 15 people on the IL right now. So I think it makes it very hard to judge them either way and what they could be. It depends when you're going to get people back at this point, because I don't think when I said that, I definitely didn't know this many people were going to get hurt. I still do use that as a marker a lot of the time. I feel like around this point, you can.
I think it's fair.
You can tell,
but look, but let me ask you this, because a friend of mine said the same thing. Well, look at how they're hurt. Okay, has Kerry Carpenter been great this year?
No. Okay. 210 batting average, I believe.
Have you heard of Trey Sweeney this year?
No, not really.
Has Will Vest been good? Has Connor Siebold been good? Has Justin Verlander been good? We knew Melton and Job were already hurt. We knew Brisky was hurt. We knew Olsen was hurt. Has Parker Meadows been hurt? Who's the guy who's been hurt that's prevented them from winning? Scooble? Who else?
I mean, Casey Mize definitely stinks lately, being out too. And then I guess just like at that point when, some of those guys.
Baez?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Baez definitely has a big part on it. I think Meadows wasn't like the hitter that they needed either, but I know Glaber's not your favorite, but I still think he matters that lineup. And I think him being out sucks right now too, with just the timing of some of those injuries on offense too.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, real quick. I'm sorry, we're up against it. Give me your heel.
Sure. I can get more into it after, but it's pretty obvious, Wemby. So I don't need to explain everything about that I have written down, but it's just the fact they lost the game last night. That's a really boneheaded play when, you need him to stay in the game there to take the 3-1 series lead.
Although I thought you were going to go Michigan Whitecaps. Sorry, West Michigan Whitecaps, because they've lost 14.
That's a fair one.
All right, we're back after this on X's and Bros. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Saturday night, May 23rd.
Carry on my wayward
Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort welcomes multi-platinum legends, Kansas. Tickets start at $60 and are on sale now at the box office or etix.com. Don't miss the best of classic rock. Kansas returns to Soaring Eagle Saturday, May 23rd. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Motown Legends, TNT, together again. Temptation. 4 Tops, Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tickets start at $55 and on sale now at the box office at etix.com. Saturday night, May 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Temps and tops together again.
Where are you watching the Tigers this year? Superfly Hayes here for Detroit Sports Net. Sign up like the Ute Show did with the Detroit Sports Net Tigers Wings package. Subscription info at tigers.com and MLB.com.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu. What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
35 after the hour. Welcome back on a Monday. Hope everything's good for you. Hope the energy's high, and hope you enjoy Game 4 tonight, Pistons and Cavs. Andy McDonald alongside. I'm Matt Shepard. You can call us on the Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21,000. We will talk Pistons with you tomorrow for sure. We will talk a little Tigers as they preview the game against the Mets, or the series against the Mets, which is another example of spending money doesn't matter. Who has the highest payroll in baseball? Go.
The Mets, and they're playing another top 10 payroll this week.
Who's got the worst record in baseball?
The Mets.
Go. Yeah. If I said to you that the Mets at this stage of the season would have a worse record than Miami, or Cleveland, or Chicago, or the A's, or the Nationals, would you have believed it? The Miami Marlins are not a good baseball team. There are 3 games under 500, I think, last time I looked, right? Something like that. Okay. Do you know what their payroll is? What's the payroll of the Miami Marlins? Just guess. It's under $100 million. So I throw a lot of stuff at Andy a lot of times, folks, and it's not fair because these things are really hard to
It's
answer.
good. It gets me. It really gets me thinking, and then I feel smarter.
Okay, so what's the payroll of the Miami Marlins?
If I had to guess, I'm gonna guess somewhere in the 70s.
It's $78 million.
Okay.
Their active payroll, the guys who are actively on their team, do you think they make more or less than one player for the New York Mets, Juan Soto?
They make less.
Correct.
Yeah.
The Miami Marlins active payroll is $41,633,966. Juan Soto himself, by himself, is making $51 million this year. It's $51,875 to be exact. So it's really closer to 52.
I mean, it wasn't long ago we were talking about Tigers like rosters that had, this kind of payroll that you were talking about that same kind of thing.
Yeah. Tigers have a top 10 payroll.
Now they do. Yep.
Yeah.
And
they're at over $210 million. From an active standpoint, they're at $104 million active players. And because a lot are on the, unfortunately on the IL, they're at 17. But overall, their payroll is top 10. This is what I mean, folks. It's how you spend the money. Okay. Now, here's the counter argument to that. Dodgers, Yankees, Braves, Cubs, Padres, who are in first place. Those 5 teams all spend more than the Tigers. So their money does go to the right place. When you have Mason Miller at the back end of your bullpen in your San Diego, you feel pretty good. When Pete Crow Armstrong is playing Gold Glove and coming up with massive hits in Chicago, things are going pretty good. The Dodgers have an all-star team, all-star lineup every single night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kyle Tucker. Welcome Freddie Freeman. Welcome Mookie Betts. Welcome Will Smith. I mean, it's constant. So, yeah. But Philadelphia, how are they doing right now? Under 500. Toronto, how are they doing right now? Under 500. Houston, how are they doing right now? Under 500. Tigers and Mets. As many teams that have spent a lot of money and are winning, there's as many teams that have spent a lot of money, top 10, and losing. It's early to a certain extent, unless you're Andy McDonald, who thinks 40 games does give you the barometer, which is fair. A lot of people feel that way. But I can say it's still pretty early because you still have 120 games left.
It's 100% fair to still say it's early. I don't think if you think that the Tigers are just there's so many people that are just saying the season's over. I still think that that's crazy. I do think that they might end up playing like a 500 baseball team based off the sample size the rest of the way. But, they still could find their way towards the top of the division because of the division that they're in. And then who knows what happens from there. I mean, the last 2 years, the Tigers lose how many games on the stretch last year to blow the division? They still made it to a game 5 in the ALDS and were one run away that they couldn't find from making it to an ALCS. So you never know what's going to happen.
So, but like I said earlier, when you're playing the type of defense that they are, okay, and you're 47-63 over your last 110 games, 47-63. I don't care who you have or how much money you're spending. I don't care who's managing you or general managing you. You are not winning baseball divisions, winning baseball pennants, or winning world championships with those types of numbers.
That's the truth.
You want a large sample size? I just gave you one. But people won't look at it. They'll shake their head vigorously and they'll say, sorry, you're a negative guy. Sorry, you're bitter. Sorry, you're wrong. You tell me where I'm wrong. You're right over a shorter span and a span that goes further back than me, who's giving you the last 110 games. If you think 40 games isn't a big sample size because we still have 120 games left, but I'm giving you a 110 game sample size and it's 47 and 63 and you're not going to buy on that, I think you're just living in a land of you just want your team to do well, as do I. I want them to do well. I want them to succeed. I'm just giving you numbers that are legitimate. I'm giving you facts. I'm giving you strong opinion on something that has to be fixed. This team is incomplete. Bad defense, not enough power offensively on the right side, and inconsistent pitching outside of save a player or two. Hard to win baseball games that way. It really is. Maybe not in this division, but it's hard to win 90-plus games that way. So you would expect it to stay pretty tight throughout this season. I think we're caught up on text. Let me shift gears here real quick. Oh, you wanted to continue on Victor Wembanyama and why he was your heel. Go ahead, Andy. Finish your thought on that.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, to me, yeah, the point you made about the Whitecaps, that's fair. For people that don't know, 14 straight losses, that's just that's crazy. But and especially last year because they won the championship. But anyway, Wemby, yeah, throwing the elbow, the hit Naz Reid in the neck. I mean, he seemed to know exactly what he was doing based on the replay. To me, there, it seemed about as blatant and obvious as it could be that he was doing something on purpose. And all the players' reactions behind him, I'm sure you've seen it by now, Shep. It's pretty funny, man. They're all, usually
his own teammates.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, they're all just looking and like there was a couple of their faces were just like stunned that they just watched what they watched. So that was pretty obvious. Yeah, the bigger thing for me that could kind of fit in there before the end of the break is that they also lost the game. And I mean, they were 2-1. They only lost the game by 5 points. If they leave him in the game there, you could easily make an argument they win. They go up 3-1 the series against the Timberwolves. So to give the Timberwolves another door opening and then also get yourself thrown out of the game and who knows what happens from there, that's another part of it too. So
were you surprised that they ejected him?
Maybe just because of his name, I guess, but no, not really. I mean, at that moment in time, that seemed like a pretty big deal, I feel like. But
yeah, I can't say that I was surprised because, as you said, it was pretty blatant.
Yeah, it was obvious.
So it had to happen, right? I give San Antonio a ton of credit. I thought they played really hard without him, and they were right in there too, for sure. I want to get to the final results of our poll question, and we're going to bring back the Daily Wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort here in a minute. But I wanted to tell you something real quick, and this shifting gears. I saw this website. It's a website for NFL people. I mean, it's an NFL website. And it says, since Brad Holmes, speaking of general managers, was hired by the Lions in 2021, these are the 5 teams who have drafted the best. They broke it down on a hit percentage, on a star percentage of those draft picks, and on a bust percentage. The hit percentage is, if you look at it, Detroit, 48%, Pittsburgh, 50%, Kansas City, 52%, the Rams, 38%, and the Packers, 55%. That's on a hit percentage of players who make the roster. The star percentage is not even close. The star percentage is the Lions at 38%. That's the highest. Then Pittsburgh, then the Rams, then the Chiefs. Lowest is Green Bay. Bust percentage. Lions have the highest bust percentage. Green Bay has the lowest. Overall, when they take all of that into account, they rank, since 2021, the 5 teams who have drafted the best, they have the Lions at 1, the Steelers at 2, the Chiefs at 3, the Rams at 4, and the Packers at 5. Does that surprise you?
I don't know. I mean, it does a little bit, yeah, for sure.
Okay. It surprises me that they're 1,
Yeah.
but it doesn't surprise me that they're in the conversation, if that makes sense to you. Via text, Shep, just wondering, why does Colt Keith get so much love in this town? He was given a lot of money. Well, I would say this. First of all, we all love our young players. So he's what, 24, I think, Andy? 24. So that helps. He's given a lot of money. That money hasn't even kicked in yet. Not that it's not a lot. Like, a lot of money. I mean, he makes $4.3 million. That's a lot of money to me. It's a lot of money to most people. All right. The contract that he signed runs through 2032, where he'll be 30 years old. And the most he'll make is $15 million a year. Baseball wise, that's not a ton of money from a baseball standpoint. $15 million for an everyday player. Look, he's a good player, don't you think? Would you want him hitting in your lineup? I would.
I like Colt Keith, yeah. All about it.
I don't think he's a great defensive player, and he never will be. He doesn't have a home defensively. It's been my problem with the Tigers system for a long time. They have drafted players, and they have changed their position. They have made them utility players instead of making them solid at one position. I envision you as a third baseman. Let's make you a third baseman. The dude, even though it's his third full season, his first year, he hit 260, low slug numbers. The following year, he hit 256, better slug numbers at 413. This year, he's batting 304 and even better slug numbers. He's got a decent OPS. It's not great. 71%. The on base has dipped a little bit as of late, but it's highest it's been in his career. And the slug has dipped a little bit, but because he doesn't have any homers yet. But he's a guy who's going to get on base for you. I don't have a problem with him, especially at that cost. You're saying he gets paid a lot of money. You're thinking his big contract, and you're thinking long term. It's really the last 3 years of his contract where he's making the quote unquote big money, where he's going to make 10 million, 13 million, and 15 million. And by the way, each one of those is a team option. If the team chooses to bag out of it, they can. The most money he's ever going to make during that stretch before the options is $5.3 million. Which, like I said, for an everyday player who's going to hit about 270, 280 for you is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I think that's what it is. One is that he's young. Two, that he came up through the system. And three, most people recognize it's really not, comparatively, it's not a lot of money.
For sure. Got another quick text too from Noah in Grand Rapids here. He said he was talking about the 47 and 63 record going back to last year. He said we didn't have McGonigal, so that is slanted facts than asterisk. He also said they got to be better this year, so he understands that part of it, but got to include context about how the roster is different right now.
Well, agreed with Kevin McGonigal. I don't disagree with that at all. I like this kid. I think he's awesome. All right. But as I've said before, he has gone through a very difficult stretch. That was to be expected. I mean, Dan Dickerson just said it in the den. You expected him to struggle at times. I don't hold that against a player at all. But answer me this, Noah. Your left fielder's the same. Your center fielder coming into the season was the same. The right fielder was the same. Your third baseman was the same. Your shortstop was the same. Your second baseman was the same. And so was your first baseman. Shortstop with Javier Baez. And your catcher was the same. What do you mean by roster turnover? Kevin McGonigal's the new face. Anybody else? Who else is new? I mean, Matt Vierling's healthy. He's helped a little bit. Who else is new to the lineup? I'll wait. Don't give me Gage Workman. He's played one game. Just hit his first career.
I don't think he'd say Gage Workman.
Who's new to the roster? Jake Rogers is a backup. Wenzel Perez is still on. What do you mean roster changing? Framber Valdez? No, that's one pitcher. Who else? Oh, Justin Verlander's back. He's pitched one game. Oh, Kenley Jansen, who's blown 3 saves. I mean, come on. What are you talking about? Put it in perspective. Taking things out of context. I think you're taking things out of context more than I am. There's one guy. It's Kevin McGonigal. And it's a big piece. I think you're right. No, he's really big piece. But everybody else is the same. This roster hasn't changed hardly at all. That was my point. That was my frustration with it, is that it didn't change. Not nearly enough. Final results of the poll question. Thanks for chiming in, though. We do appreciate it, Noah. All right. Poll question from Friday. Here's what we asked you. Who was better in this series than you thought? Harris, Robinson, or Jenkins? What did the masses say?
So far, the results we got, Tobias Harris coming in at 40%. That doesn't necessarily surprise me. It's just how he's been playing throughout the whole series. Duncan Robinson at 33 and Dennis Jenkins at 27, though. So it's very even throughout that. I feel like if I were to vote on this, I would have probably picked Dennis Jenkins just because, I mean, until game 3. He didn't have his best game 3. But I feel like going into that question on Friday, I might have picked Dennis just because I was surprised with how he played those first couple games.
I think I would probably say Duncan Robinson.
That's a big one, too.
Look,
They're all
Tobias
good.
Harris, after what Tobias Harris did in Orlando, it hasn't surprised me what he's done in Cleveland. The Duncan Robinson, the amount of shots, and he's shooting the basketball like he did at Michigan, for crying out loud, like he did early in his career at Miami. Thank you for voting. We appreciate it, everybody. We've got another poll question, the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question right now. How much does streaming sports bother you? Not at all. It's starting to concern me, or I can't afford all the apps. We'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll bring back our daily wager. It's brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. This is where Andy McDonald gives you the best bet of the night. And then we revisit it tomorrow to see how well he does. And we'll keep a kind of a weekly chart on how things are going.
I'm nervous for that part of it, by the way.
You should be. I would be too. I'm not very good at this stuff. Our first of the daily wager on Monday with Andy McDonald, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their sportsbook Ascend. What do you have for us?
My one that I'm picking right now is Tobias Harris over 18.5 points. Until the hot hand isn't working, I'm going to stick with it. And the books are still waiting for that to go down a little bit, I feel like, just because obviously during the season he didn't have a lot of I forget if he even had any back-to-back games with 20 points or what it was. But the fact of the matter is,
he did not, by the way.
Exactly. That's the people. So yeah, it's not like it's a very common thing for him to be doing that, but he's been playing unbelievably in this playoffs. They're clearly looking to him. I still like him to get to that number until he doesn't.
So in fairness to Andy, I mean, he's averaging over 21 points per game in the playoffs. Last game in the loss, he had 21. In the game 2 win, he had 23. In the game 1 win, he had 20. In the series wrap up against Orlando in game 7, he had 30. To keep the season alive in game 6 against Orlando, he had 22. Andy's on point here, 18 points above Tobias Harris. He would have to clip above his season average, but below his postseason average to win you some money. Brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. I like that daily wager. Our thanks to Mitch Lyons, as always. Our thanks to you for giving us some of your time on a Monday. Don't forget the huge show later on today, 3 till 7 on these same great station affiliates. Have a great Monday, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 6.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirement.